Let's wrap up this week's activities and work with range names. If you start looking at detailed spreadsheets, which some of these accountants prepare, it is so much easier to understand what's going on in the spreadsheet if you have a name range. Let's say you were calculating somebody's paycheck and you were timesing out how many hours they work times the rate to get their gross amount. And rather than look at a formula that says G3 times B5 equals and the answer, wouldn't it be easier to just be able to see it equals hourly rate times the hours worked? Formulas represent. So that's what name ranges are about. And it'll make it easier for you to discern what the information is on your worksheet. So let's show you how to do that. Now, let's look at our worksheet. Let's take a look at name ranges. So we want to bring up, you should already have your formula up that we were in for a monthly PMI. What I wanted to point out to you is up on the top of the screen, and I may have covered this in an advanced video before, but up here, right in this box right here, is what tells you what the name range is. And if you have name ranges already selected or already established, if you use a down arrow, those will come up. So yeah, they already do have some items already established on this worksheet. Okay, so let's create a basic name range on this. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and select the range D4 through, I think our text says E6. So we're going to identify the contents of our table here and set a name range for that. So to do that, we select our range. And then what we do is we place our cursor up in the name box, which I mentioned before is up here, and then we type the word rates. Now, if you click off into another area of the spreadsheet without hitting enter, it will not save your name range. So that's the key with this. You have to make sure that you hit enter and it saves the name range for you. Okay, so let's look at our name ranges that we have already. So if I click on the down arrow here, you're going to notice that rates is now on our list. Now, if I click on rates, notice it actually identifies the rows and the columns which represent this particular name range. Now, in our activity today, it talks about the name manager, but it doesn't really specify where to find it. It actually is located on your formulas tab. So if you click on formulas, and this should be where it is also in Microsoft 2007, notice here we have the name manager right here. Okay, so what they're talking about is click on name manager and it will bring up all the different name ranges that are available for this particular workbook. Now, I want to point out a couple things to you. Notice here it's giving you the scope of the workbook. That means no matter what worksheet you are in the workbook, these name ranges will be available to you. You can actually just have them segregated just to one particular worksheet. Now, the other thing, because we're starting to use more than one worksheet, now that we're beginning to work with more than one worksheet, I want you to be able to notice what formula relates to what worksheet. So if you notice on this particular item, you have equals HO1-2 with an exclamation point. That identifies that it's taking, just for this value right here, it's taking the cells B16 within HO1-2. So that's what makes up this average cost. That's when you see that exclamation point that it's referring to what worksheet within the workbook. Okay, so for this particular exercise, they're asking us to go to the average cost. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to click on edit. And it says type in the name. So they want us to actually give it a little bit more descriptive name. So I'm going to type average underscore house underscore cost in the name box. And I'm going to click OK. Okay, so now if you look at it, there's a much more cleaner description on it. Okay, now it's asking us to go into title. So let's click on title and it's saying to delete it. So we don't need this one. So I'm going to hit delete. And are you sure you want to delete? Yes. Okay, so let's look at how it's applied. Remember when we did the APR and we have this convoluted type of formula here and it's like, oh, what does this all mean? Well, we already named that table as the rates, did we not? So why don't we make this a little bit more simplex? So let's revise this formula. So let's click on here. And now if I click on the FX, see it says insert function. If I click on that particular icon, notice it brings up the values within here. Now, if you did not do that, What you would do is if you started over and you hit formulas and lookup and rekeyed it, it would have added the two formulas together. So be very careful with that. You want to make sure that you actually click on the function insert. So it brings up this functional argument box. So we're back right here where we designed it all. And the only thing I want to change here is I want to actually the table array. I'm going to select this in the array box and I'm going to type instead the words rates. Okay, remember that's the name that we created for this. And also note, when I typed it, it actually gave me the values on there. You have to be careful of how you type in your name ranges. For example, if I would have typed this all in capital letters, it would not have recognized the name range that I created because I created the name range with the capital R A T E S. I keyed it as capital R A T E S. It matches, it found it, we're good. So I'm going to click OK. Check it out. Doesn't that make more sense? So it's using a lookup table that's located in F9 for rates. The value of F9 is to look up what it is for 25 years. It's going to go to the rate table. Okay, so just a little bit easier to analyze your formulas. Work through this last couple of exercises on there. It looks like you're doing a cut and paste of a name range. And look how those work, because I think you'll be able to use those in the future when you're working with worksheets. So that's it. Like I said, if you have any problems with any of these assignments, just email me a copy of the worksheet that you're working on, and I'll try to direct you in the way that you need to go.